I get asked a ton, why is my aim not improving? My goal of today's video is to cover fast info on why perhaps your aim is not improving on Apex Legends. Let's start with the beginning. Poor positioning. You have to minimize your hitbox against opponents, otherwise you're playing Apex Legends literally on hard mode, meaning if your hitbox is large and theirs is small, you're openly deciding to try to hit a much harder target. Why give the opponent an easier game? Training your aim for thousands of hours can fix this, but if you're hitting a small target and your opponent is hitting a large one, you gotta even the odds to better self-assess if your aim really is the problem. Next up, you're taking bad fights. I always stress you need to get the jump on the opponent. If you don't, well, you are gonna have to simply react faster and be better. Now, again, this is a battle royale. Like Apex Legends, enemies can really come out of nowhere, so you gotta expect the worst and reposition, but then try to get the jump on an opponent through holding an angle more effectively. You don't want to trade equal damage straight on with an opponent. That means your next fight will be more difficult as you have low HP or your reset time to get back in the fight. Well, it's just gonna take longer. Now, if you get the jump on an enemy and you miss your whole mag, then you know you gotta work on your aim. Now, training at incorrect ranges. Your aim is not improving because most go into the test range and train around a range that just isn't one that you're going to always be in. You need to be realistic on the level of aim you're trying to improve. Increase the distance and practice recoil from a much larger range. Now, I know this is going to feel humiliating to miss so many shots. This is a realistic area though that you have to improve. Trust me, everyone doesn't want to warm up on stream at this range because when you miss, well, it's embarrassing to showcase. We all feel it. You got to push through it and train where you know you're going to miss and push yourself. Train what you are not good at. Bring up the performance of where you're at your worst, because then you can net better results than training for small incremental increases of what you're actually good at. Now, another problem I see is trying to copy other sensitivity settings. Using other sensitivities can be positive initially to know this is a tried and true tested method that works, but at the end of the day, you need to continue to improve and master your aim. You need to be honest with yourself and ask what feels most comfortable for you to improve. Using other settings are settings that work specifically for them. Now you need to adjust and fine tune what works best for you. Now, you're improving, but you cannot see it. This is a nice reminder though, the journey to improvement is slow and you won't always see the immediate results. Also, with skill-based matchmaking, you may have tons of progress and now you're gonna instantly have the fun of enjoying Apex Legends' incredibly brutal matchmaking and face off against better opponents. So just trust that you're improving. Now, the last one is lack of patience and diligence of your practice. You gotta put the time in. You really do, unfortunately. And if you're putting the time in, trust that somebody else is putting even more time in to improve. This goes for all inputs, for both controller players, for mouse and keyboard players. I want you to follow me on this hypothetical thought, meaning this is not an exact science statement, but a hypothesis as you improve. A thought process, really. Controllers are intended to be easier to learn initially, but let's be honest, at range, it's really hard to learn to control that recoil. It really is. Unfortunately, it's going to take a lot of time to master. The secret? Putting the time in. Mouse and keyboard at the start can be slightly tricky to get the right settings, but the control can be easier to master in the long run, but also has a higher skill ceiling in some areas that can be really difficult to master as well. Now, the statements of this is not true for everyone, but the goal of these statements is at some point, no matter what, no matter who you are, you're going to hit a wall of what is difficult to master. That's the point of those two statements that I just made. It's going to be different for everyone. All inputs, persons will hit a wall on what is difficult to master. This is a different learning curve for all, and what you need across the board for all of us at some point is patience. If it was easy on any input to master, well, that input would be the one that we all use, and well, the amazement of the clutches we see would cease to be amazing because we all could do it. Tournaments would be stale because we all could win. It's because it's difficult to master, and the improvement from all inputs demands respect for the hard work that gets put in. If it was easy, you wouldn't be watching videos like this to look for an answer. We wouldn't be striving all together for the perfection on aim. So what we covered today are points on why your aim is not improving. Some areas where you need to check on positioning, time, comfort levels with various settings, and just overall patience. The goal is to self-assess. I made this video encompassing broader terms as if you were sitting next to me and we needed to try and find what's going on. Remember all these key terms, and I promise your aim is actually improving, but you really just got to put the time in and also realize if you're making it much more difficult for yourself. Thank you again so much for watching this video. Hope you found it helpful, and I hope that you do improve your aim on Apex Legends. And I'll see you guys in the next video.